Okay, let's talk now about This Week in Auto History, and Konrad has that. Do you have that?
Yep.
Oh, good.
So in 1901, Charles Yant drove the first automobile up to the summit of Pikes Peak.
The man's name was really Yant?
Y-O-N-T, Yant.
Okay.
And he drove a 1899 Locomobile steamer up the 14,110-foot drive. And you got to remember, back then, it wasn't nearly as easy to drive up as it is today.
Did they have some coal stops on the way up?
Well, I'm sure they had to stop to refire it. Going up.
And get some water along the way?
Get some water, yep.
God.
And then in 1902, German engineer Felix Wankel, the inventor of the rotary engine that would later be used in race cars, he was born this week in 1902. The Wankel reportedly came up with the basic idea for a new type of internal combustion engine in Wankel's mind when he was only 17 years old. Quite an innovative internal combustion engine in the way that it worked. And they could make a lot of power, but, man, were they oil burners. They just couldn't get the seals.
Was it 3 spark plugs in it?
Yeah, they just couldn't get the seals to hold up, so they burned a lot of oil. In 1907, the Rolls-Royce Silver Ghost passed its 15,000-mile official trial with flying colors, showing off its 7-liter engine, right? 7-liter engines, kind of the Corvette 427 is a 7-liter engine.
That reminds me of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Yeah, I don't think that was a Rolls, but yeah, that same generation of vehicles.
Design.
It had a 4-speed overdrive gearbox, and the trial made the Ghost's reputation worldwide and gave Rolls-Royce the name Best Car in the World. There were a total of 6,173 Silver Ghosts ever produced.
Wow.
Stunningly beautiful vehicle for that generation. In 1966, the first Chevrolet Camaro drove out of the manufacturing plant in Norwood, Ohio. The 67 Camaro Coupe was named just a couple of weeks before production was released. It was originally supposed to be named Panther, and then they came out with Camaro, and Camaro was French for something like friend or amigo or
shaved
buddy.
legs or something.
Yeah.
Ooh la la.
Pedicure.
In 1984, after close to 30 hours of deliberation, a jury of 6 men and 6 women unanimously acquit former automaker John Z. DeLorean of 8 counts of drug trafficking in Los Angeles, California. The Detroit native and son of an auto worker, DeLorean began working at Packard Motor Company as an engineer in 1952, and he rose quickly at Packard, and later he went to General Motors in 56, and at GM he worked for Pontiac, introducing
GTO,
both the GTO, the Grand Prix, and the Firebird while he was at Pontiac.
Brilliant man.
And then moved on to Chevrolet and introduced the Vega.
Whoops.
Yeah, from genius to
oh my
God, what are we doing?
You can't win them all.
And then in 1991, this week, Mazda Motor Company announced it planned to enter the luxury car market with the Amati. After several other high-end brands.
Oh, my God, I completely forgot about that.
And do you ever drive? Did you ever have one?
No.
Yeah, they weren't anything
ugly.
super wowie, but the Amati was Mazda's version of a luxury car. And you think about back then in 91, you had Toyota kicked off Lexus, Infiniti, or Nissan kicked off Infiniti. Now you have Hyundai has kicked off Genesis, and the success of some of those other upper luxury brands from those Asian imports are pretty successful.
Lexus.
Pretty successful car divisions.
Yeah.
Amati was a bomb.
Yeah.
So, and that's it. Back to you, Don.
Well, it's funny because Honda did Acura.
Yep.
And they did okay.
I thought Honda did wonderful with Acura. The problem with Acura was it was known as the Legend and the Integra. They weren't known as the Acura Legend or the Acura Integra, even though they were. The brand name of the model line became more important than Acura.
It's funny because when the marketing comes down to it, you think about the way that Japanese have a different perspective of marketing things, and it's not all been great.